What is up, internet world, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're bringing the 2023 Hyundai Palisade. When the Palisade was first launched, it was sort of shadowed by the Telluride, but here we are with the mid-cycle refresh, and the Telluride not as, exciting anymore like it first was when it first came out. You have this, a changed up front end. This is the urban package here in Canada, where it has all black everything, with the exception of this trim. So in Canada, we have three different trims. The first is called Preferred, then you have this, the Urban, and then the top ranging Calligraphy. In the US, you have five trims: the SE, the SEL, the XRT, the Limited, and the Calligraphy. Now this mostly resembles the XRT, which is all new in the US, and it's all new here in Canada because it's blacked out everything, a bit more ruggedy look. Now if you focus on the grille, it is massive. You have these huge piano type keys all in the front, and they're pushed forward. They're not recessed, they have this gap in between that makes it look more bold, more muscular, and I'm glad that the Hyundai badge is not in chrome. They've actually blacked it out, which is nice. And when you move away all the way to the bottom, you have more piano black that flows from end to end, wraps around the front bumper, and then you have your Parktronic sensors, and then you have your front radars. Now, in my opinion, this looks very Mitsubishi Outlanderish, especially this part here, the way it cuts across and narrows as we flow through the side here. I think that it's better looking than the Mitsubishi in this color scheme, being hyper white and all this black trim. It is unique because it is new to 2023, but the one thing I'd like to know is how is this gonna hold up 5 years from now? With salt in Canada and road rash, how is this gonna sort of look? Was it gonna be really beat up? People complain about piano black and fingerprints. Now, my fingers don't exactly hold this, but I can see some very light scratching. So it's cool for the showroom floor, but how's this thing gonna last 5 years from now? So lease it. To the side is Korean-built Palisade. Now there's not big changes on the side of it, a few minor pieces because this is the Urban. Now in the US, again, it's called the XRT, and there's one specific change, and that is the roof rail. It is black, and in this specific case, in the Urban in Canada, it is not black. So if we start at the front here, you have black 20-inch wheels, and then moving up, you have nice fancy signal repeaters on the outside and the inside. You also have black trim, but then you have this rugged material underneath it. And then moving up, you have not black. You have this like anodized dark chrome that's here, and that is cool. It's different. I think they've put it there because they probably tried it in black and realized there's just too much white and black going on. So that is cool. I like it. It doesn't really bother me. I was kind of bummed out a little bit because the Yukon was kind of similar to this, but it was chrome, and I'm like, buddy, it's supposed to be all black, but then you put chrome. At least this one's sort of a darkened chrome, so I'll put up with it. Now, if you have a key in your pocket, you can actually have the vehicle pull forward and pull back. Not in this model, but on the top guy, you can. It's called like an assisted pull in your parking spot business. But then when the key's in your pocket, you walk up to the car and you lock and unlock it by hitting this button. The backs don't have it. On a vehicle this size, you would think it would have it standard. The key's in your pocket, you have shopping bags in your hand, you're not putting them in the trunk, you want to put them in the back seat, or the child is in your hand. You want to be able to just touch the handle and unlock, not do one of these and do one of these. It's been like that forever, and I've complained about it, and it still hasn't changed. The back of the Palisade. Now, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? This is supposed to be the blackout package. What is this chrome doing here? What is Hyundai badge in chrome? This is supposed to be black. I paid big money for this thing, and it ain't black. But if we start at the top, there's something that is black. This little shark fin, it is all black. Cool story, bro, but no. This needs to be black. And that pisses me off. And this wiper should really be hiding underneath here where the piano black is, if you noticed. And moving below, there's black. And it also tows 5,000 pounds now. Yes, and also has cool exhausts that mimic a car. That's cool. So let's see if it has an option that people don't really even talk about anymore. You know, this one. This is like the biggest thing in the world for a long time. This kick trunk. And to be honest, wherever I go, nobody ever uses it. So I'm glad it doesn't have it. It does have a rear camera, and it does have power trunk that is height adjustable. And then when you open up this power trunk, you will see that there's so much room back here that I can do one of these. Seriously speaking, this is the same option that's in the Yukon Denali. You have buttons for your second row to fold down, not up, same as the Denali. And then you have buttons to have the third row come up as well as go down. So how much room do we have when I'm sitting back here? Well, Ian, hit the button. Okay, I was joking. I was joking. Ah! So how much room do we actually have? Well, in terms of width, we have 48 inches, so just over 4 feet, which means you can fit a 4x8 sheet of drywall or plywood. And in terms of depth, with the third row up, you have 21 inches. And with the third row down and the second row up, well, it really depends on how the second row is positioned, but let's put that down and show you. So with the seats down, you have 4 feet. That's cool. You can put a 4x4 sheet of plywood or a 4x4 sheet of drywall without putting the second row down. That is a lot of space. Now, in order to get to the third row, this has a conventional bucket seat in the back here, and they are easy to use. There's a button up here that I hit. It's not a switch, it's just a simple button, and this is what happens. Now, the way these seats work, if you haven't used a bucket seat before in the back of, or a captain's chair, there's a handle. When I pull the handle up, this folds flat. But when it's flat, it cannot slide forward to let me go in. I have to put it back up again, pull the handle again so it unlocks, and then press this button, and then it slides forward. And now I can get in. And there's a little step here that's designed for muddy boots. And then I just do that, and I jump in the back here, and voila, here I am. Now this is a 7 or an 8 passenger, but I will say in the back here, it is pretty tight. I don't know how you could fit 3 guys my size, 5'9" and under, probably, maybe not. I'm 6'3". Seriously speaking, it's really designed for 3 children back here. At the most, there's not enough room for 3 adults. There's no way. This seat belt only gives me probably about 7 inches of depth in terms of the person's booty sitting here. But the 2 people that are going to be sitting back here do have a USB-C. They have buttons that can make the seat recline, which is nice. Forward and backwards. That is cool at this price point. I do have 2 full cup holders, but all that is just fluff, because when the electronics are away, what do you have? You need air and light. So as far as light, I have this nice window here that's at a good head position. It's not behind me like some vehicles, or it's not in front of me. It's right here. It's a good position. I do have a speaker, and I do have air coming to me so I don't feel claustrophobic back here. Because as an adult in an emergency situation, if you are sitting back here, you just kind of hate your life. But back here, I don't feel like I'm going to hate my life. It's a little bit tight, but then again, it's just a mid-size SUV. It's not a large SUV such as a Yukon Denali. Now let's talk about the second row here and this door panel. It's massive. I didn't expect it to be this large. I have 2 cup holders over here. I do have sunshades. I do have this sort of vinyl piece here with some trim, again, sort of basic if you ask me. And then another sort of bottle holder down here. But again, back to the seats. I feel like they've sort of skimped out a little bit on the door card here and spent the money on these seats. These seats are wide, they're perforated, they sort of come out as leg extensions, and they have this sort of material up here that looks like perforations but with lines in them, like some sort of skid marks. Like most vehicles, you do have a magazine pocket behind the front seats, but this one has an extra little netting on the front of that, and that allows you probably to put your cell phone on both sides. Now it's passenger and driver, not just passenger like some vehicles. As far as HVAC controls go, you have the whole deal right here. You do have 3 increments of heated seats per side. Underneath that, you do have a cigarette lighter, and the question is where are the USBs? So if you don't know Hyundai and Kia product, they are hiding in the front seat right here. They are not USBs, they're USB-Cs. Front seat of the Hyundai Palisade. Now, if we start off with the door card here, similar to the back with a little bit more premium because this Harman Kardon speaker takes up more space. But moving up here, we have 2 memory seat. It does not have fold-in mirrors. It does not have automatic windows in the back, just the front. And of course, that's it. Now, when I start over here, you do have a tow button because this can tow 5,000 pounds. It does have stability program, and you can open and close the rear trunk lid by a button over here. It does have an electromechanical parking brake where the button is right here, not over there like most cars. Now, I will say that even though I am harping on the lack of quality over here, look at these stocks. The wiper stock and the light stock is premium. Now remember I was talking about leg extensions in the back seat and how they're fixed? Well, in the front, they're adjustable. There's a button I can push and I get leg extensions. And now when I jump in to actually feel the seat, I will tell you that they are firm. They're not soft whatsoever, but they're firm enough. Good feedback. Yeah, they feel pretty good. Nice white piping on the side. They now have a classic 4-point steering wheel with paddle shifters. You have your adaptive cruise control, keep you in your lane, your volume controls, and all the other features you expect on a steering wheel. Now moving across, you have now one solid piece of venting. Now you only have 3 individual vents, but you have this outline that flows like the original Audi A4. Now moving up, you have Kia Hyundai's largest screen they put on their vehicles, and this is a 12.25 or what they call a 12.3-inch screen. Now people hammer it because it does not have wireless CarPlay. You actually have to plug it in for it to work. If you get the smaller screens, then you do get it, but the Palisade only has the large screen, so you can't get wireless CarPlay on this vehicle. But I will tell you that this is the first vehicle they've made that has Wi-Fi hotspot. They're trying it out, so this is the vehicle if you want Wi-Fi hotspot. The 2023 Palisade has it. Now it does have 2 features that are important to tell you about. The first one is something called quiet mode, and that is when the kids are sleeping in the back and you're talking up here and the volume is too loud. What you do is you press quiet talk, you can lower your voice, the back speakers shut off, and the kids can sleep. Vice versa, if the kids cannot hear you and you're barking and you're not loud enough, you hit passenger talk, and guess what happens? Your voice gets amplified to the kids in the back, and everybody in the cabin can hear you talk. As far as the driver's display, you can get the heads-up display as an option when you get the top models. In this Urban, you just have this upgraded screen, which is plenty. I'm not a huge believer in heads-up display. When I do get them on cars, I kind of look past them anyways. Now, moving below the vents, I do have hard buttons that are nice and large, along with 2 rotary knobs for volume and tune. And then moving below, I have a larger HVAC control panel here that has 3 automatic buttons. Moving below, I have my drivetrain buttons, which are park, reverse, neutral, and drive, auto hold, 4 increments of drive modes, 3 increments of terrain modes, and then you have your hill descent, your parking sensors, your start and stop, and then your cameras. And the final set of buttons on the center console are 3 increments of ventilated seats, 3 increments of heated seats for the driver as well as the passenger, and a really good heated steering wheel. Now there's 3 areas of storage in this center compartment. The first one is covered by this aluminum panel. It has a push sign, I push it, and voila, I have 2 cup holders, and where would be the wireless charging, but this one does not have it. It just has a full USB, not a USB-C. The second spot is your typical armrest. It's nice and wide. It has a decent amount of padding. It does not slide backwards and forwards, but it is there. You do have this little change compartment here, and then you do have a cigarette voltage and another USB-C. Now, I will tell you there is a third hidden one, and because this is sort of a minivan, it is underneath the center console right here where my hand is sliding out. Hello. Now, last but not least is the sunroof. This has a standard sunroof, but if you get the top models, then you can opt for a panoramic sunroof. In the 2023 Hyundai Palisade, I have a V6 3.8 liter that makes 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. All right, let's brake boost this bad boy and now, it doesn't sound like there's a 3.8 liter V6 in here. It sounds like there's a 4-banger, if I'm being honest. There's no sort of depth to these sounds anymore. This is a refreshed Palisade, so Hyundai has spent time on the stiffness of the chassis as well as the rebounding of the suspension to make the ride more smooth. And it's definitely smooth. When I got in this and I drove it to our little hometown here of London, Ontario in Canada, I can tell you that I felt really luxurious. It was like I'm going over a fairly bumpy road now, and it takes the bumps like nobody's business. Now, in terms of noise, it's very quiet in here because Hyundai has spent time on sound deadening the interior again. They also make these windows so tight that yesterday I was driving back and I put the window down and then I put it back up and it wouldn't fully close half the time because it was so tight. Check out this window. Putting it up. Putting it up and down. It doesn't have a good lock of seal. Now, this does have winter tires, so it is a little bit more road noisy, but the car itself is really quiet. I'm a huge fan of Kia and Hyundai, and I say that together because they are pretty much kind of one and the same. They might operate as 2 different companies, but regardless, they are kind of one and the same. They use almost the same stuff across the board. Like this dash, for example. It has everything the same thing as a Kia does, and I love it because when you indicate to go left or right, you have a side camera, and that is so great. I don't know why more manufacturers don't do that. Money, that's amazing. And then of course if you get the top trim, because it's not the top trim, when I go like this, I have a rear view camera mirror. Cool. All through COVID, all we were talking about was super expensive cars and how everything's going up in price. And for sure, this is not going to be super cheap like it once was. But relatively speaking, it is really good. It is really good. I know when they first dropped the Palisade, it was really getting overshadowed by the Telluride. That was dominating the Palisade big time. But now the Telluride isn't that much of a grab like it once was. The Palisade finally has room to shine where it should have shined in the first place with this new grille now. New grille, new front end. I do love the way it looks. It's all white. You got this black grille. It does look sick. And on the inside, very minimal. It has all the features that you need. And of course, it's easy to clean for the kids because obviously you're going to buy this thing if you have kids. No single person on the planet is ever going to buy one of these things. You have to have children. So it's going to be easy, obviously, to clean and manage, maintain. But then there's a 3.8 liter. How much fuel is it going to suck? Should they have put a 2 liter in here? What do you think they should have put as an engine? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this review on a Hyundai Palisade. As always, we'll see you on the next one.